I had this one friend whose dad told him to stop playing PS4, and he got so angry he broke his own hand punching through the wall. Now, if you're looking at this moment as an isolated incident, it wouldn't make much sense. Normally, when you tell someone to stop playing video games, they don't get so angry that they try to kill their house. I'm Damian Barton, and today we're going to talk about your emotional bladder and what happens when you don't process emotion. One of the most common emotional regulation strategies is to not deal with them. Denial ain't just a river in Egypt. It's an incredibly effective way to make your emotions go away. You can stuff them away, but they don't just disappear. When they keep getting pushed down, they actually come back later with a greater intensity. My friend, Mike, the one who put his hand through the wall, his day didn't start that crazy. He woke up just like any other Tuesday, but he did remember that that paper was due that he didn't finish last night. So his bladder gets bigger. He goes downstairs, and his favorite thing in the morning are those really sweet Honey Nut Cheerios. But when he goes to open the bag, there's only crumbs inside. So his bladder gets bigger. So he gets to school, and it's a normal day, except when he saw everyone turn in their essays, he had nothing to turn in. So his bladder gets bigger. He goes to work at the gas station, and this old woman starts screaming in his face about how there's never any Fig Newtons in stock. She gets so up in his face that he can smell the warm tuna fish coming off of her breath. So his bladder gets bigger. Now it's nighttime, and all he wants to do is finish the last level of the game. The reason he didn't get the paper finished last night. And right as he's about to win, his dad comes in and shuts off the game. And he explodes. When we don't let the pressure out of our balloons, they'll pop just like my friends did. So how do you let out your emotional pressure? It's time for the
takeaway tip.
There's a few different ways to let out our emotional pressure, but today we're just going to focus on one of them. I first came across this concept at a lecture from a fantastic marriage and family therapist named Jaclyn Long. In this class, she went over the idea of the emotional bladder, and then she told us something that seemed so obvious, but I had just never thought about it. She said, you should try to find one person who you can have a weekly venting session with. Go out and actively look for one person who could be part of your support system. Be upfront with them. Tell them that you're looking for someone who will spend 10 minutes listening to you, and in turn, you'll let them vent for 10 minutes. 10 minutes of uninterrupted venting. Now, when it's your turn to listen, you should be empathetic and try to validate how they feel. Oh man, I'm so sorry you're going through that. Another really important thing is to repeat back to them parts of what they said in the form of a clarifying question to show that you're listening. Oh, you don't want to leave your job, but he wants you to? You're not going to be able to go to that concert? You're signaling to them that they're being heard and listened to, and not just tolerated. It's a time to let go, a time to really be listened to. It's an incredible feeling to really feel like you're being heard. You could do this with your partner, or a friend, or your mom. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you're able to let out that pressure that's built up. Remember, you gotta find someone you feel comfortable enough with to empty that emotional bladder around. You gotta trust them. So don't feel obligated to do this with someone who you just don't have that kind of relationship with. And if you're not sure if someone will be that person for you, there's no harm in trying it out. And if it doesn't work, it'll inevitably just be a blip in an otherwise fruitful relationship. But when you do find that person, they'll become valuable in a way you didn't even know was possible. So remember, if you don't let out your emotional pressure, your emotional bladder will explode. And we can release the pressure built up by finding a venting partner. Join us next week when we talk about psychologist and concentration camp survivor Dr. Viktor Frankl and take an in-depth look at how to find meaning in suffering. If you liked this video and want to be notified anytime a new video is released, please hit that subscribe button. Also, I'm pleased to tell you that the Barton Blueprint now has a Facebook, Pinterest, and LinkedIn page. There's a bunch of extra content like infographics of some of the takeaway tips, as well as some fantastic mental health quotes by many of the most notable names in the field. The links are down in the description. And a special thank you to Jaclyn Long for the help researching this episode. You can also find links to all of her stuff in the description below. Thank you for taking care of each other and taking care of yourself. I'll see you next week.